What's going on, y'all, and welcome on in. Today, let's talk about how to build heroes for beginners. Smilegate has once again asked me to share with y'all my tips and tricks on everything from leveling up, promoting, awakening, and then even using those resources such as Catalyst, Phantasmas, Mola, where to find them, how to collect them, and how to use them. So buckle in. Let's build some heroes together. All right, y'all, let's first talk about leveling up heroes in Epic 7. Just like in a lot of other games and RPGs, you clear stages, kill mobs, and your units will get experience as long as they're not max level. Now, back in the day, we used to use a method called dog walking. If we wanted to level up a lot of heroes quickly, we would take a strong carry unit and then bring a lot of weaker units, aka the dogs, and the dog walker, the carry unit, would kind of feed experience to them by carrying them through stages. Now, that is no longer the case, and let me show you all the results screen here so we can kind of see the breakdown on the experience gains. So as we can see on this results screen, Arbiter Vildred, who is max level 60, gets no experience. The Mega Phantasma, the Giga Phantasma, and the Mudflux all got around 2.4 to 2.5k experience. Now, dog walking or just leveling naturally by progressing through stages with non-max level heroes is still a valid strategy. We could have ran Arbiter Vildred plus, level 40 to 50 heroes, level 3-star heroes, whatever it might be. And in the beginning of the game, guys, until you have max level heroes, you're going to need to just level the normal way by completing stages, killing enemies, etc. The reason I keep saying max level heroes, though, is take a look above Arbiter Vildred, who is level 60, and we see this icon called Until Penguin Hatches. This is one of the newest features. I say newest, but we've had it for over a year now. One of the best features, in my opinion, on just making experience so much more streamlined, where you don't have to dog walk. You can kind of just level however you want. Essentially, the more max level heroes you have, or anytime you have max level heroes, period, any of their experience doesn't go to waste. Instead, it goes straight into the penguins. So that means, guys, you don't have to carry lower level units with a strong unit. You can just run all max level heroes, use them for friendship farming, which we'll cover again later in this video. Or you can use just any hero you want that you like and, maybe complete those star achievements, like run X amount of elemental heroes, run a ranger, run a warrior, whatever that might be. So big kudos to Smilegate for adding this, guys. Essentially, you don't have to min-max leveling as much as you used to. Just do whatever you want and get a lot of XP via penguins, dog walking, running non-max level heroes. My suggestion, of course, is to run all max level heroes because your runs are going to be so much faster. You don't have to think as much, and you can complete those star achievements like I mentioned. Last thing I want to show you all before we move on to the next topic is the experience breakdown in running all max level heroes. As you can see here, guys, we get 7,200, where before it was like 900, and the rest was divvied up between the Phantasmas and the fodder, the frog. But guys, right here, we're gaining friendship, we're clearing stages much faster, and the experience is almost the same. It's barely any less. Now, keep in mind when you're running areas like hunts, unfortunately, guys, even when running max level heroes, there is no experience gained, and it doesn't get converted into penguins. Just be aware. But other areas like Spirit Altar, you can get XP still. Alright, guys, let's next talk about promoting heroes or promotions. I'm going to use a Phantasma as an example, but I'm going to show you how to increase a Phantasma from 2-star to 5-star. Now, this works for any unit in the game, and the goal, of course, is to get to 6 stars, which is the max level. But any hero that starts at 5 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, you use this same exact process. Alright, so let's start promoting. Okay, remember, guys, whenever we're promoting a hero, they have to be max level. So the original hero, the one that we want to promote, needs to be max. Now, the units that we want to throw into the max level unit, they don't have to be max level. So, for example, you don't want to throw in 2 max level Phantasmas here, as we're kind of wasting a little bit of XP. Instead, let's throw in these level 1 fodder that we get through stage farming or friendship points. Refer to my last summon guide, and that way we get to save a lot of XP along the way. So let's hit these 2 level 1s, hit promote, and we should get a level 3 Phantasma. All right, we're going to repeat the process. Let's go find our 3-star here. It's one of these, and let's go to the next step. Okay, so remember how I said we need to be max level? Let's hit the level up button right here, and we're going to just hit auto select. These are all the penguins that we get from farming those stages, like I said at the start of the video. So let's hit this penguin. You can also just farm up penguins via the Force of Souls. Keep that in mind. You don't get it just from XP farming, but you would use a resource called Stigma, but we may not be able to cover that in this video. So let's equip these penguins, or put the penguins in, hit the level up button, and we get to level 30. Now, one quick tip, guys, in case y'all didn't know, I get this question asked a lot. People weren't aware of this. The arrows at the side here cycle between your other units. So if you want to quickly level up a bunch of units, if you're doing some mass promotions, we can just hit this next button and hit auto select level up to go through the different units quickly. Okay guys, let's bump this Mega Phantasma from 3-star to 4-star. So what do we need? We need to throw in 3 more 3-stars into this guy to get him to 4-star. So let's hit the promotion button and we can throw in, I have here prepared some Mega Phantasmas as well as some, 2-star fodders that we bumped up to 3. So 3-star fodder will promote this guy into 4-star. Now, one quick note, boys, try not to use any of these heroes at least in the beginning of the game, as you never know when you might need them later. They might have a specialty change. And remember, if you want to start imprinting these, which means, copying these units into each other, you also get those book of memory bonuses, which I referenced in the last beginner guide. Make sure you all check it out, the summon video. But let's go ahead and move on and promote this 3-star into 4-star. Voila. All right, guys, home stretch. Let's turn this 4-star into 5-star. Let's repeat the process. Start with leveling up. Let's get this level 30 to 40 via penguins. Hit that level up button. All right, we got the 4-star. Now we get the promotion button activated, and let's throw in, we'll take one of the Giga Phantasmas. Another quick note, guys, it doesn't matter. The gold dogs or the Terra Phantasmas, they don't mean any more value. They just start at a higher level. So don't feel bad if you're putting in the gold dogs into the Mega Phantasmas, I should say Giga Phantasmas into the Megas. It really doesn't matter. All that dictates is their starting level. So typically you will throw Megas into Gigas, but if you want to go backwards like this, it really doesn't affect anything. Okay, let's throw in these 4 stars. And now, guys, we have a 5-star. Now, the nice thing is, now that we have this 5-star Phantasma, if I wanted to level a unit to 60, right, like this Inferno Kawazu here, an awesome unit, which I'm planning to level very soon, I would just throw in, 5 more of these. Just like I said, with the 3 stars, don't throw in any 5 stars especially. Those are super valuable. You'll need them for imprints. That's going to be some very endgame level status where you're able to throw these out, maybe whale territory, okay? So for 5 stars, we would just repeat this process 5 more times with the Mega Phantasmas, that entire process I showed you, to get a 5-star, as y'all can see here, into 6 stars. Okay, guys, one last tip and one last feature I want to show y'all before we move on to the next topic. The first one being, I just noticed, make sure y'all lock your heroes. I've gotten lazy as an endgame player and I have a lot of dupes, but in the beginning, it might be really bad if you accidentally promote, a 5-star hero that you didn't mean to. Start getting used to locking your heroes and equipment and artifacts early. It might save you a big mistake in the long run. But the last feature I want to show y'all is this book promotion, and it's just really nice. You may not make use of it in the beginning when you don't have a lot of heroes, but there's a lot of filters you can set. It just saves you a lot of time. I like to use it to promote like mass amounts of units, especially like 2-star. Remember the process we did, guys? We can mass promote like these 2 stars straight into 3-star without having to use that arrow function that I showed earlier. Okay, let's go and move on to the next topic, which is Awakenings. Awakenings are stat boosts and skill effects that you can add onto your hero in exchange for runes and catalysts, which I'll show y'all where to get those later on in the video. But the process is very simple, and it's the same for every hero. Just depends on the different types of resources you'll need. But you start at the beginning of the Awakening tree, and the beginning costs are cheap, lesser or regular runes. They'll give you some stat bonuses. You keep moving along and you get different types of bonuses, and the cost will increase. And then at the 3rd step, for every hero, you'll get additional effects. Now, some of them may vary from slight effects to like slight increases on whatever buff they give, to major effects like Cerise here, who will actually get invincibility. So of course, Awakenings are very, very important. I see a lot of people skip or skimp out on Awakenings as maybe they don't feel like the stats are worth it. The skills are definitely worth it, and the stats, I would argue, are extremely worth it as well, especially for areas of the game like PvP where your opponents are going to be running them and you really want every advantage to stay on par or get an advantage versus them. But moving on to 4-star Awakenings, right, the cost just keeps increasing, and I wanted to show y'all why. For example, I mentioned you should try to get every unit max awaken, but if you do need to save a few resources, just a small tip, like I mentioned, Cerise, when I used to use her when she was more meta, Cerise, if you weren't aware, guys, an Ice Ranger, she's more of a support utility role. She usually is fast, uses some debuffs, and can lock down units. You almost never build her on damage unless you were trying to be, off meta or out of the box. Typically, she was just run fast with like a lot of effectiveness. And so if you wanted to save like 10 epic runes and 10 epic frost runes, which is a lot, guys, in terms of farming. You know, certain units may not need that max awakening, but for anyone that can make use of the skill or the effect, the stat boost, definitely don't skimp and max them out. Next, let's talk about skill enhancement. So as the name implies, this will enhance our skills, and the costs for these are going to be Mola and catalysts. Okay, now guys, this is a lot of Mola, but this is a rare resource. So those of you watching, if you're newer, you may not have nearly as many as me. So that means you're going to want to invest these a little bit more carefully, especially if you're free to play. Just make sure the hero you're going to be using is a hero that you really like, or a unit that you know is good in the long run in multiple areas of the game. If you need any help on what heroes are worth investing in, I have multiple guides on it. You can ask me in the comment section. Always. So moving on, skill enhancements for Cerise. I mentioned she's a more speedy utility support style hero, and in the awakenings we didn't need that extra crit chance, right? Because she's not a damage dealer. So as y'all can see here, guys, I wanted to save some Mola and catalyst. I didn't opt for some of the damage dealing skill enhancements. Now other heroes that require damage, like damage dealers, of course, bruisers, you're going to want to usually max them out to full. And I'll show you one of those, an example of that in just a second. But on Cerise, I made sure to pick up all the utility skill enhancements, effect chance, -1 turn cooldown, and I was able to kind of save the rest. So try to identify support versus DPS. Here's a DPS bruiser here, at least the way I built her, a Lifesteal Seaside Bologna. And as y'all can see here in the skill enhancements, guys, I made sure to +15 her because her doing the max amount of damage is very important for the role I want her to play. Okay, hopefully that helps out a little bit. It's going to take a little bit of learning room to know which units you want +15, which ones you can kind of sacrifice on. But typically, it's damage dealers need to be maxed, and then knights, tanks, supports, healers, you can maybe skip on, you know, the damage molas or other things like that if you're starved for Mola. Let's quickly talk about skill enhancements when it comes to friendship, because we get some bonuses or free stuff in that regard. If you guys recall at the start of the video when we were covering leveling, I leveled up Mercedes to max friendship level while I was showing how to get penguins and use max level heroes, etc. Well, the nice thing is when you get friendship 10, guys, not only do you get some cool expressions, which I just enabled the one right now in this section, we also get things like free skill enhancements, which I'm going to show you guys here. And there's two different features. Okay, my Mercedes is already +15 skill enhanced. I already put in all the Mola and Catalyst to get that to +15 because she is a damage dealer. But when you're at friendship 10, you get free skill enhancements up to 3. And if your hero is already +15, here's what happens. I'll show you all right now. You get 3 free Mola if you already maxed out. Okay, so instead of those 3 skill enhancements, since we can't put them anywhere, since Mercedes is already +15, they give us a Mola 3 in exchange. Now, if I wasn't maxed already, let me show you all an example here. I believe my DN is max friendship, but she is not +15. That means we get these 3 skill points that we can throw into any area. Now, the reason I haven't used this yet, guys, and y'all might not either, is because, like I mentioned, for supports like DN, who is a support / healer soul weaver, I don't really need the damage. And even though I get to save a little bit of Mola, it's still going to cost me some catalyst and gold, so I'd rather just save that for now. But if you wanted to, for example, knights that can just still pump out a little bit more damage, why not? You can use that in exchange. All right, guys, I got 2 last brief topics to cover before we move into the catalyst, phantasmas, molas, and runes, where to get all that stuff, all those resources that you use for all these functions. But let's quickly cover the recruit tab, and we're going to talk about connections and specialty change. Let's start with connections. So connections are a nice way that Smilegate added to get 5 stars, 4 stars, Moonlight heroes, usually ones that are great for early game players if you were unlucky to get them through summoning, and a lot of them are amazing for progression and just, you know, early accounts. Make sure y'all take a look here and start working on them when possible. So a lot of these may be a little bit outdated, but if you like them, you can still pick them up. And then there are some very important ones like Yuna's a 5-star who can be very good. We have some specially changed units, which we're going to cover what specially changes are in just a minute. But units like Hazel, units like Alexa, who's a great Wyvern unit. Furious, of course, one of the best Wyvern units. Angelica, an awesome Soul Weaver who can also be used in Wyvern, which, by the way, is a hunt. I said at the beginning of the video, that's one of the best ways to get resources. Lorena, one of the best damage dealers for PvE. These are all very, very nice, what do you call them? Missions, ways to get heroes that can kind of shore up and supplement your account. So don't don't neglect this. Make sure you take a look and start working on heroes whenever you can. Now, different heroes require different, what do you call them, missions, and some of them can vary in their degrees of difficulty. Like some of them have just way more stuff, will require you to like gift epic catalysts. But if you ever need help, all you got to do, guys, is click the go button and it'll take you straight to the stage or area that you need to complete the mission in question. So once again, to wrap it up, connections, a great way to get heroes without having to summon. Make sure you take advantage because most of these are catered for very, very strong progression. Last but not least, we have specialty change, and this is one of the coolest features of the game, at least in my opinion, to make 3 stars, you know, units that aren't the best into powerhouses that can compete with even 6 stars, depending on what kind of hero, you know, is getting the special change. But let's take a look at Hazel, because I mentioned her when we were looking in the connection tab, and it's very similar to connections, as you can see here. You have to do certain requirements or missions, like eliminate monsters, gift catalysts, clear hunts, and then you'll end up in like a cool story mode trial battle, which sometimes, guys, be aware you can't just press the auto button, but they're pretty simple overall. Now, this is going to give your Hazel a complete new look, a glow up, enhanced skills. As we can see here, guys, the attack command transforms into girl in uniform, getting so many buffs. And we also get an entire skill tree that gives us bonuses like increased health, effect chance on skills. What else we got here? Bonus healing, speed. There's so much stuff in here, guys. Just be aware that this area takes a lot of runes in the spirit altar. So let's go ahead and lead into our next topic, or our last topic of the video. Let's talk about all those catalyst runes, Molagoras, and just quick ways and areas to obtain them. First up, let's talk about catalysts. These are mainly used in the skill enhancements and awakenings, and you get them through AP exchange, boss drops, mob drops, things in that nature, side stories. And if you need to know exactly where to farm them, guys, here's a nice little tip that I like to show people. You go to the catalyst tab here, which, by the way, take advantage of the alchemist steeple. Once per week, you get to convert catalysts in exchange for other types of catalysts. So essentially, you do lose a little bit of value, but let's say you have like a ton of one type of catalyst, like my fused nerves here. I can change these fused nerves in exchange for mercenaries medicine by combining any combination of normal and epic catalysts. Just something that you should be aware of and take advantage if you have like too much of one type of catalyst. But what I wanted to show y'all here real quick, guys, is if you ever need to know where exactly to farm said catalyst, all you got to do is click the button here and it'll show you exactly where to go in each stage. So if we wanted some mercenaries medicine, it'll just show us exactly where, and we can click the arrow. So these are showing the AP exchanges, and then guild member shops and alchemist steeple, of course. But yeah, clicking the arrow will take us straight to the stage, and as well as show us like the AP exchange or where to farm the boss drops, which I'm going to show you all right here. Go into the monsters section on this region info, and it'll show you the exact stages that drop the mercenaries medicine or the lesser catalysts, and we can click go again and take you straight there. All right, so take advantage of the free features in the game to find those catalysts that you need. Next up are phantasmas. Phantasmas can be obtained via weekly reputation, side story events, and the main one really is, guys, let me show you all here real quick. In the sanctuary, the Forest of Souls. The Forest of Souls in the Spirit Well, every time, you know, this cooldown goes 24 hours, we can nurture up to 1 to 3 phantasmas based on our building improvements. Now, not only that, you can also just straight up convert stigma here, which you get from just doing any stage anytime you play the game, and convert that into phantasmas via this function. Next up, guys, we have the very coveted Mola Gora. Now, there are so many ways in the game to get these, even though they are a little bit rare. I'll list them out, but the ones I want y'all to know for sure on at least a weekly basis is in the Conquest shop and the Guild member shop. You get 1 per week each. In the Transmit Stone shop, we can get 2 Molas per week, trading in 15 silver transmits. And last but not least, guys, once per week, we have the Mola Gora farm. So make sure y'all take advantage and get all the Molas possible. And remember what I said earlier, try to only invest Molas in the beginning into heroes you are for sure going to be using in the long run. The last resource we're going to talk about is, of course, runes. Runes being used in those skill awakenings and the skill trees for those specially changed heroes. One thing you need to note, though, as you can see here, guys, is altars are locked on certain days. So let's say on Monday, Forest Spirit Altar is open, and then Frost is open Tuesday, Flame Wednesday, Dark on Thursday, and today, as we're recording this, Friday, Light Spirit Altar is open. The nice thing is, though, as y'all can see, in 20 hours, all the altars open up, including Light. So Saturday and Sunday, you get access to all the altars. But you do want to plan ahead, because let's say, for example, it's a Tuesday where Frost Spirit Altar is open, and you had a Earth unit that you really wanted to build, and you need those Earth runes from the Forest Spirit Altar. Well, you're gonna have to wait all the way until the weekend, guys, or the following Monday to get those. So, you know, a minor inconvenience, and which can definitely impact or feel really bad for new players. So plan accordingly and plan ahead. All right, y'all, and that should hopefully cover everything you need to know on how to build heroes as a new player. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. If you have any additional questions, leave them in the comments below. Thank you to Smilegate for sponsoring us. It's been an absolute blast. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.